Well, let's move now to the news overnight that Australia will spend $7 billion over the next decade on new air and missile defence systems under a new agreement struck with the United States. Now, on the face of it, this looks like the right move. We're going to acquire Standard Missile 2 and Standard Missile 6 weapons in a deal that's already been approved by the US Congress. But like so much in the area of defence procurement, plenty of questions remain, like what's the time frame here we're talking about? And how many missiles will we actually see for $7 billion? Join me to unravel some of that. Director at Strategic Analysis Australia, Michael Shoebridge. Well, Michael, thank you for your time. What do you make of this announcement? Because the minister said he's not going to give us a timeline of when we will see these missiles rolled out on Australian warships or any detail much more than that. He says for operational reasons. Do you buy that?
No, I don't, Peter. I think Pat Conroy's media releases should come with rainbows, unicorns and lollipops over them. They're creations of fancy. This announcement is a rewarmed meal with a dash of deception. So the reason he doesn't want to say when we're getting the missiles is because he knows that would be embarrassing. He talked about this is accelerated, but the three classes of ship they're going to go onto are the air warfare destroyers. The three of those are going to be out for years each doing refits. The general purpose frigates, a ship that we haven't even chosen the design for yet, and the Hunter frigates, which are over a decade away. And the deception is he talked about these missiles like they were strike weapons. These are defensive missiles to deal, they're counter-missile missiles.
Aha. So there was a press release, we dug it up, from 2021. This is an announcement by the US State Department saying that they had made a determination to approve the possible sale of these missiles to the Australian government. So effectively, we got an announcement today about something that the US government signed off in the middle of the pandemic in 2021.
Yes, these weapon programs were funded in the 2016 Defence White Paper. This is just a rolling program by the Navy. In fact, it shouldn't really be called a Conroy press release. This is just the unaccountable defence bureaucracy doing what it does regardless of who's in government. What we really need are timelines, numbers, and what's the resupply arrangement when we run out, because you run out of these missiles fast.
How good are you, Michael Shoebridge? Nothing much gets past you. Everyone else who fell for the trap in the headlines today. We haven't done it here on Credlin because you're here to inform us and keep them honest. Hey, I spoke to Neil Ferguson today. He wrote in the papers that Australia, the world actually, is asleep at the wheel. When I spoke to him after his ARC presentation this morning, he went further. He had this to say.
Vladimir Putin said in July of 2021 that the Ukrainian-Russian people belonged together in an article that essentially promised the annexation of Ukraine. And we utterly failed to deter him from the invasion that happened the following February. Right now, we know from very good intelligence sources that Xi Jinping has told the Chinese military to be ready for war in 2027. And I don't think that means there will be war in 2027, but I do think that it raises the probability that sometime this decade there's going to be a showdown.
Well, I think that's pretty chilling. Do you think it's accurate, Michael?
I do, Peter. I think we've got to start taking nasty authoritarian leaders at their word when they say things. Putin did say he was going to attack Ukraine. He did. A whole lot of people said he won't because we don't want him to. Xi Jinping is building his military for war and says so.
And he's made it very clear, hasn't he? Very public that the date of 2027 is exactly where he's looking to. And you look at his age too, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, he's early 70s now. He's got a clock winding down on his own mortality.
I agree. I think that the timeline for Chinese military aggression at Taiwan is tied to Xi's timeline, his personal clock. And fortunately, he's not immortal.
Unfortunately for that too. All right, Michael Shoebridge, thank you as always.